whipping it up today.
Yes, we sure are. First edition here up with the state line, High Horse Cannabis. Today, me and Bennett, we're going to be whipping it up in the kitchen. Kitchen being, our little makeshift setup right here with our own purchased materials. This is strictly a demo, guys. These products are not by any means going into any sort of production line. So all legal disclaimers aside, these are our own home batch here that we are sharing with you guys. So you guys can, copy us and do the same thing at home over the holidays. Talk to our beautiful, wonderful patients and customers about how to cook with cannabis. This is going to be one of the talked about, to-dos when it comes to cannabis and Christmas. And whoever has that awesome cannabis Christmas party, the Cannabis-Infused delights there, you absolutely are stealing the show when it comes to Christmas parties this year, guys. And, we're talking about today biscochitos, New Mexico tradition. Bennett, I don't know if you've made these before without.
I actually have not. So today I literally was just given a recipe, some instructions to follow. And I just know based off watching kind of like grandma, tias and stuff cooking it up in the kitchen over the holiday season. So
tell you the truth, I've never made them either.
Wish me luck. So I will be taking on most of this because let's just hope for the best.
So exactly, Bennett's going to be demoing out what our famous in-house, cook here, who, Austin, he does manufacturing for us. He's actually working most of his time with pre-roll and flower, helping a little bit with botanics and what they have going on. However, his real at-home, expertise comes in the kitchen. And this guy has been, cooking cannabis edibles. And he's been doing a really good job. He's the guy who knows how to cook biscochitos. So Austin, thank you very much for prepping us out here. We have some, everything is aligned according to his plan, his recipe, his ingredients. So we very much appreciate him setting us up for success. We'll see if we're able to make the full success in the final product. If not, we've already got some final products already demoed out here, guys, just in case, Emerald Lagasse, Rachel Ray, or however, you go ahead and
those famous ones. Martha Stewart. I'm Martha Stewart.
Yeah, Bennett is Martha Stewart minus any convictions.
Yeah, no. Clean record over here.
So, all right. Well, anyways, Martha.
So, yes, now we're going to get into like the cooking aspect. So right now what I'm currently doing, I really don't know the name of the form of what I'm doing, but I'm basically folding in some sugar into some lard. The exact measurements are going to be 2/3 cups of lard and 1/2 cup of sugar. This is going to be the white sugar. So I'm currently just incorporating the sugar into the lard and making sure it's nice and mixed in before we incorporate an egg, and then we incorporate our FSO. So fun fact about Austin and Chaparral and we all stem and we started here in Chaparral. So this store is kind of where we all started off, and it's actually pretty cool to see how we've all progressed over the time. And this is our little home base. And so this right here where you're looking at, this used to be our hallway entrance of our first shop. Before we even expanded over to having our drive-through, before we even expanded, it's just bittersweet to see the growth and to be back and to see where I'm at now. And so this used to be my shop. So it's kind of really fun. And Austin used to be my budtender, and now he's moved on to bigger, better things. And he's in manufacturing, getting ready to cook him some edibles. And yeah, so he's been doing it at home. So he's got the expertise. He's got, some culinary background too. So it's just beautiful to see the growth, and especially during the holidays.
Guys, I mean, cooking, at the end of the day, cooking is an art. People can express themselves through, making what they like to eat, enjoying it, and sharing the love with their friends and family. The holidays, a perfect time to do such things. So we're just trying to give you guys and set you guys up in the best way when customers come asking, well, how do I cook with things? What should I be considering? What should I be thinking about? The world is your oyster, budtenders. That's what we're getting at today. We've hit, obviously, the fact that we're going over biscochitos, New Mexico, awesomeness here, and super holiday traditions. You see them everywhere. However, we've really
new holiday traditions this year.
Cannabis is such a cookable, infusable thing, and you can make it happen in so many different recipes, anything that contains, fat, really. And you can honestly slip it into some sugar things, but today we're talking about pretty much every single way to insert it into a fat containing substance today. Obviously cookies with lard, guys, lard
very
is
fat.
that's definitely lipophilic and
but that's
perfect.
Honestly, if you're Hispanic, you know that almost anything that we cook with is with lard, almost everything. So that's honestly what makes the biscochitos very cultural. So if you're from a Hispanic or Mexican household, Latino household, you know that we be using the lard all the time.
Absolutely. And so, for whatever household, either you're using lard, using butter, using vegetable oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever it may be,
oils,
it turns
fats.
into, that's the perfect place to add cannabis. We're going to talk about how exactly and why we're doing it in the order that we're doing it here. Bennett, as she did, just whipped up the sugar and lard. She's about to add the egg. And what we're putting into this specific mixture here, in the sake of saving time, is full spectrum oil. Full spectrum oil donated by my company, Farm True, made by Botanics Extracts. So this is a 1 gram dosing syringe here, guys. And basically, as you'll see here, I'm going to bring it even closer. It's a scored dosing syringe. So for those who actually have never dosed out the FSO, it shows you 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, all the way down the syringe, just so you can see exactly, how much you're adding in there. So today, we're going to be adding 1 full gram of full spectrum oil into this recipe. Bennett, as she did, just add the egg. So she now has the maximum amount of fat additives in here. She's got all the fat. She's getting it all mixed up. The egg's going to hopefully break it up just a little bit more and make her job in mixing it, a little bit easier as it hits the room temp as well. It's still a little bit, chilled, and she's doing a good job.
It's hard. I'm using my muscles right now. This is my workout of the day.
That's awesome. And guys, so we're going to talk about exactly how to get into the math and the cooking of it all. As simple as it is, right? You could be pretty mindless about it and just, get cannabis, insert it in the fat time, cook with it. But again, we're going to pull the brakes there and make sure we get in the right lane and set ourselves up for success. First things first, temperature, right? Big thing. THC boils at like plus about 350, like 340, 330, right in there, right, guys? So when you're cooking it at extended periods of time above that 350 degree mark, really all you're doing is cooking out THC. So that's one threshold I want people to be mindful of. But again, when you're cooking, we're using full spectrum oil here.
Go ahead.
Please have at it. We'll let Bennett insert this in, and we're going to talk about the full spectrum oil additive, guys. As we know, FSO, full plant material, ethanol distillation to get to this point. And basically, it's sometimes you have to warm it up to get it out, but she's got it. It's a little viscous to get out of there, and she's going to get the full gram dosed in there. And so you look at, well, how much is actually going to be in each cookie? How much is going to be in the entire batch? That's the $1 million question, right, guys? Because, I'm sure people can remember cooking edibles back, when things were not legal, and you'd go get the ounce of swag or whatever it may be, throw it in the oven, decarboxylate, which we'll talk about the methods, and then boom, all of a sudden you have some extraordinarily potent magic brownies, right? The most traditional thing that people make. And, not knowing your dose, right here, got this white coat on. You gotta know your dose. You gotta find your dose. Start low and go slow, as we've implored all of our team over here at High Horse Cannabis Company. At least have an understanding on your dose, right? Even if you're, consuming, smoking, inhaling 15 times a day, I don't care. Just thinking about it rationally. Hey, well, I might be using 1,000 milligrams per day. I might be using, 200 milligrams every 6 hours, or whatever that is. Finding your dose actually gets you to use these edibles and get them to a more effective point. And being able to do it for yourself, obviously, then you can do it for somebody else without any problems. So, right, me and this big old red nose here, that's what we're trying to share with you guys, so we can just build the math, build the process there in terms of, yes, you can cook with anything. This isn't just a biscochito recipe. This isn't, just cooking with full spectrum oil. We want you to learn how to cook with distillate. We want you to be creative, to think using canna butter, making canna butter from decarboxylated THC flour, or you can even use hemp flour if you really wanted to, right?
Yeah, you can even go as plant-based as you want to go with with your recipes. Just key factor is using your fats.
Exactly.
And knowing your dose. So with these, I'm thinking biscochitos are typically going to be little round cookies too. So hopefully that makes them a little bit easier to dose out. And people to kind of give a little bit of a ration. But it's just, it is a little bit of a trick at home. And but like Remy says in Ratatouille, anyone can cook and anyone can medicate at home. So
perfecto.
So, but how would we know our dose? So based off this, like this current syringe that we have.
Perfect. The $1 million question, guys. I promise you, if you can actually tell, your friends and family at the holiday party what dose is in whatever you made, man, all of a sudden people can gauge, oh man, well, I've only done half of a 10 milligram gummy, like I'm really only going to take a morsel of this. So again, you don't want to chase your friends and family out by overdosing them and scaring them away from cannabis, right? Like you can actually know, you can tell them and set them up for success. So let's talk about this specific batch that we're making here. We're using full spectrum oil. It's 82.2% THC, right? This 1 gram syringe, knowing the percent with how much, volume you have and weight by gram, you can thus calculate out how many milligrams of THC you're going to have in there. So at 82.2%, looking at about 822 milligrams of THC in the syringe. Granted, FSO also does have minor amounts of the other phytocannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids in there as well, which is very awesome. Some of it might cook out as far as at the temperature because, those really do cook out sub 200. But, there still could be a little bit in there depending on the time as well. So anyways, 822 milligrams total amount of THC going into this batch right here. Well, you just generally do the math. We don't know exactly how many cookies we're going to get out of this once we do our cuts. We're estimating we're going to get about 20 cookies out of this batch, slicing them real small. So assuming a full homogeneous mixture, which you also need to try to strive for. I know Bennett's hitting this by hand. If she has the mixer,
I think I might
guaranteed, but
my hands are clean and I might just
she's
go
doing
by
a good job.
hand.
And she's about to go tamale masa style right here and knead this thing.
Cut the bowl.
And so, which, you got to do what you got to do. But again, another reason to be mindful about the mixing is you want that full homogeneous mixture to get spread out all the way around so that, again, every cookie is dosed the same. And you don't have one super bomb cookie one cookie that doesn't do nothing for nobody, right?
And that's what I'm trying to make sure, that we don't have no FSO lumps anywhere. And I do see them around here. So yeah, it's just me. The lard is a very thick consistency compared to your butters or your oils and stuff. So I think the lard might be one of your harder ingredients, your fats, to try and dose out or homogenize, how you would say,
Yes, fully agreed. And there may be other tricks that you have to employ, again, like warming it up a little bit. We don't have a microwave, that's a toaster oven right there, but that's something you could potentially do to try to make it a little more workable. And that's just some of the creative factors that if you're pulling some other recipe out of Betty Crocker and they're not telling you how to add in cannabis, you're just going to have to think a little bit outside the box to make sure that you can get what you need, which is a homogeneous mixture when you put in your cannabis in whatever form it's going to be. Right now, yes, it's full spectrum oil, but let me talk about the other forms that can go in here. Full spectrum oil, already decarboxylated, perfect to go in here. When you hear the word decarboxylation, right, why do you have to do it? Well, in your full plant material, aka just straight up flower, you've got your THCA, CBDA, all the acidic derivatives of THC, CBD, phytocannabinoids that need to thus pull off that acid chain, the hydrogen part, right? So that it can just become THC and be consumable, activated and ready to go. So that activation process called decarboxylation, maximizing the amount of THC in effect that you get out of the plant, you actually have to put that plant through something. So the FSO has been put through the boiling process. It's been heated, it's been activated. Same with distillate, even your live resin and stuff, right? Even your rosin has been activated because it's heat pressed, right? So anything that's going under that, you're good. But the flour, that's why you can't just straight up strain flour, and add it into something and have flour flakes and use it like oregano. It's not going to activate. You can't just eat flour. It doesn't work.
It's raw. Yeah.
So to activate it, yes, you're decarboxylating and then adding it to a fat. That's, generally what you have to do. in the simple terms. And
so fun fact, with that being said, a lot of these producers, like for example the FSO or even concentrates, like grams of concentrates, those are already have done the work for you. It's already has that activation process. So it even makes that skip one more step for you. So there's many other things on our shelves that you can use, or you can guide our clients to use to medicate at home.
Which is a great point. Exactly. You want to, if anybody's like, well, I want to buy this, but I'd like to buy that edible or vice versa, you can make your own edible at home. You can use, even if it's a live resin or whatever, and use half of that or something to make yourself some biscochitos, for example.
Yeah,
or,
around the holidays.
Eggs. You could literally put it in anything. And that is the point. So in terms of looking at what's on your shelf and being a little bit extra creative with that, we won't talk about the flour just yet. We're going to talk about, full spectrum oil, any sort of distillate, any sort of live resin, resin. You can literally put that into, your products. But we're talking now just decarboxylation. So if people want to use, their flour. So like, for instance, people that have vaporizers, you can thus cook with that flour afterwards. That's one of the perks that people like to use with vaporizers. You can make sure it's decarboxylated all the way, and then again pull out all the THC portion of that and make sure all of it gets used, because if you're using a vaporizer, sometimes it doesn't always get used. Otherwise, again, if you just have an excess of flour that you want to cook with and try, or for whatever other reason that you want to cook with flour, you can. So decarboxylation takes anywhere from about half an hour to 40 minutes under the temperature, anywhere between 220 and 240. We like to say 235 degrees Fahrenheit, for about half an hour. You want to have nice and ground up cannabis that you have in there, because that ground up cannabis means you have all the surface area exposed, thus being able to expose out all your trichomes, all your THC, heat it out, pull it out, boom, 20 minutes, or excuse me, you're 30 minutes in there at the 235. You pull out that flour that's just been on a pan, already all crushed up, now decarboxylated, thus ready to mix into a fatty mixture, such as vegetable oil, olive oil, butter,
lard.
Exactly.
So this is
and then you strain it out.
Final mix.
That's where your cannabis infused, actual flour infused, you have to strain it out. You're probably going to end up with minor amounts of particulate that you'll be able to see. It could even change the color of whatever you're cooking, Your oils, distillate, rosin, FSO may not really, change the color of the mixture. Color is just a perception by any means, guys? But again, just so people know, it's not like a bad thing that one looks different. You're just like, all right, you can't strain out all the flour. It's going to have a little chlorophyll in there. It's going to end up in the final mix. Good to go. But either way, you just get to that same point of, pulling out all that flour, getting the THC, running the dose calculations. Budtenders, all our high horse guys, I sent you guys those calculations here in our little group chats and stuff. So you guys have all the extra resources. High Horse Cannabis Company, we are the go-to guys for setting all of our patients, customers, and community up for success. So going through that math, guys, it just takes a little bit of time, and you can absolutely turn any cannabis product into an edible, basically, And so that's the educational value we hope to offer you guys, and hope you guys cook with it.
All right. So going into what I've been doing, I did add 1 egg to the process. I mixed that in and incorporated and make sure that the egg, the FSO, and the lard are all incorporated in together evenly. Now I've added 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and now we're gonna add in our dry materials. Actually,
yes, absolutely.
I can't do
that.
I can. So our dry materials are actually going to be 1 cup and 3/4 of all-purpose flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of anise seeds. So that's kind of what makes the biscochitos a little bit different than other cookies. They have anise seeds in them.
Awesome.
So yeah, now we're going to incorporate this together, and we'll have our dough.
And you see the cooking process from here is rather just a cooking process, right? We got through the math, we got through the addition of the cannabinoids, and now, you know, you're just getting the delectable treats out and ready to go. And that's, I mean, your general basis for any sort of cannabis cooking. And guys, for those of you who like to cook or, you know, find yourself having to cook, consider adding cannabis if you haven't, right? There's no reason not to, you know, even if it's just, for some people, maybe just put a dab, right? You could literally just add a dab to whatever meal you're making at that time. There's no reason that, you know, you couldn't if you didn't want to. I just don't think necessarily people associate the fact that that's even a doable thing. And that's totally cool. So we got the little toaster oven right here. We're going to be baking the biscochitos after we get them obviously mixed and then cut. The form of the cutting here is...
Would you like to start on making?
Yes.
We already have some pre-made dough as well. So we are gonna get started on cutting those up and making some little cookies. So now, you know, we have this batch, and we already have a pre-made batch as well.
And that's thank you to Austin there for preparing all that for us.
Yeah, he's a hero for coming in and giving us all the tools and everything that we need already pre-measured. So we could have a successful podcast. So shout out to Austin. Some people get a little camera shy sometimes, so. But here in a bit, we'll have the Chaparral crew, some of the Chaparral crew come in and introduce themselves, especially once we're done with a little bit more of all this baking process.
Yes. And guys, obviously, I mean, you know, at least for the purpose here, unless you really had a weight on the cookies and the weight on the batch, you couldn't really homogeneously say, you know, exactly
sure.
X milligrams per, because it all is a weight-based calculation, right? So you didn't see me weigh, you know, this entire log by any means of cookies. So if I was to weigh it and then, you know, then you divide your weight per cookie by the total weight, then you run that percent by the amount of, you know, THC in there. So if it was, you know, 822 milligrams and, you know, this cookie was, I don't know, 1/20th of that, right? You're running that 5% times 822 into one cookie, right? And so on and so forth. So those are the ways that happens. So these are now cut up and we'll be putting them in the toaster oven. Again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cookies here, right? So again, 16 divided by 822 gives you a rough estimate, but some of these cookies are smaller than the other.
Different size. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm gonna make some different sizes on that so we can make sure we get, maybe we can probably get some 20 out of that just to make them all one even size.
Yep, so some of our bigger ones we will split in half here. Get ready to put these in the toaster oven.
Have you ever made edibles at home?
So yes, actually, that's how we got started with the gummies for us. We were doing CBD infused is initially where we had gotten with it, and we were just cooking with all kinds of whatever. But I guess the first time I did it was definitely in college. It was the magic brownies. Man, there was one funny memory that I worked for Dion's at the time, and you know, our crew had made the magic brownies, and there was about 2 or 3 guys that weren't able to wake up for like the next 2 or 3 days. Nobody heard from them. And that's what you call misdosing there, right? It's like all of a sudden, you know, guys are stuck with their eyes shut for days because, you know, got overdosed. And again, you can't overdose on cannabis, but you hit past the ceiling dose and
your body's,
you can't move, you can't go to work, whatever that may be. And it happens. And that's why it's important that, you know, first timers do not have that experience, especially if they're cautious about it. I mean, if somebody's welcoming it, sure, that's a different story. But you
Oh
know,
yeah, there's definitely clients that you'll get in that are ready for a challenge. They're like, I'm trying to get so high. So, by all means, tell them, you know what, try some FSO, put that whole thing in some cookies, put that whole thing in a cake, go at it, But, we don't condone it. See, that's a exceeding your ceiling dose, but that is some people's form of, some fun. And if they would rather use that for some fun rather than alcohol, then so be it.
yes, basically it's, I mean, whatever you got to do to, if it's medicine for you there, if it's just for fun, that's totally okay. I mean, granted, you don't want to abuse something and say it's medicine by any means. That kind of defeats the other part of the
Mhm.
purpose there. So, if you're doing it for fun and you just want to take a really high dose, just acknowledge that. It's fine. You don't have to, let's not taint it with the word medicine there. But if you do want to serve yourself up dosed portions of medicine that keep you, right, probably 8 to 12 hours of satisfied here, you could definitely do some math, compare them, find your dose, obviously start low and go slow, and just chunk it out from there and set yourself up, right? People, if you're doing food prep for the week, right, you could throw in part of this in your food prep process.
To the
All of a sudden you have a
max.
meal with, something like that. So again, where somebody might say it's too expensive to buy edibles and take them all the time or something like that, all you have to do is cook with it at home. And most people are used to cooking at home. It's a term that maybe feels a little forgotten nowadays, but again, all those old schoolers definitely for sure know what's up.
I think we're gonna make these into little cookies, like little round ones.
Okay,
Little round balls and squish.
I will let
Just
you.
so we can make sure that they all cook evenly. The fun thing about cookies is if they're all a different thickness, they will not cook throughout.
Which, exactly why I don't produce cookies by any means. I'm not a cookie pro.
It's okay, look, you got it.
So attention to detail, awesome job in it. Hey, are we having some of our budtenders come and
Yeah, actually, let's.
say hello? Let's bring one in. Chaparral, guys, we're on the state line right now. Dispensary operation over here. We're in the back. We're hanging out.
Ding
Demoing,
ding.
showing off
Hello.
our stores. Hello.
Where's your hat? We have one of our assistant managers coming in and saying hello.
All right. What's up, superstar?
Don't mind the knife.
Awesome.
Ooh, a knife.
So thanks for sharing your store with us. Talk to us about the tree. What's going on back here?
The tree. Well, first of all, I do want to add this one. May he rest in peace. We did have a coworker that passed away back in April, but we do still carry him with us, of course.
Always in the shop.
Yes. But yes, this is where we have our Secret Santa presents and whoever else wanted to get each other presents. This is where we keep it, and we do have our little memory thing for Mr. Andrew.
They're a little heavy.
And I'm sorry,
now.
Please introduce yourself. Tell our
I'm
audience
sorry.
who you are, what you do. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I am.
And let me give you the mic as well here. So let me button you up. Thank you.
Okay. So I am Nicole. I am one of the assistant managers here. I started back in January, so next month I have a year with High Horse.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I've been in the cannabis industry for about 2.5 years. Ever since they stated about High Horse, I had been wanting to join, but it did take them a while to get me in. But now I'm here. I started off as a budtender, and I moved my way up to management. Whoop, whoop. It's been a pretty cool experience.
Cannabis industry. Talk to us about what you've seen so far in the industry and what your thoughts are kind of going forward.
Well, I've seen a lot of patients and customers where it has helped them so much. The company I used to work for, I actually met a lady there. I am a recovering alcoholic addict. I have 7 years under me. I actually met some lady that was a recovering alcoholic as well. And she was hitting 10 years when I was hitting 5 years. So I've gotten to know some of the patients and some of the customers like very, very closely on a personal level. And she ended up giving me her 5-year coin.
Uh-huh.
So this industry has been a big blessing to me in general as a recovering addict. because I mean, a lot of people still have that stigma that, oh, you're not sober because you're altering your mind. And yes, I get that. I'm altering my mind, but in a good way. You know what I mean? I'm not, I was unfortunately on methamphetamines and crack cocaine. So, you know, compared to that type of altering mind, it's completely different. This has helped me stay off for 7 years.
And it actually has neuroprotective effects against that stuff too.
Yeah. And I was an active addict for, I want to say about 10 years off and on. You know what I mean? So this is the longest I've ever been sober for as long as I can remember. You know what I mean? And I can thank the cannabis industry completely. And especially High Horse, because this lady right here is a big blessing to High Horse for sure. I mean, she doesn't stop. Even her not being our manager no more, she doesn't stop. You know what I mean? She helps us out. She makes sure we're okay. She goes above and beyond. So it's been a big, huge blessing being able to work for High Horse, for sure.
I loved having you as one of my budtenders, and I love seeing you as an assistant manager now. I wish you were my assistant manager, but
I know it
I'm
took
out
me a
point the
while.
knife. I wish you were no, I didn't mean it
Y'all
like that.
saw that, okay? Y'all saw that. That's why I'm here. I'm just kidding. No, and I've actually learned a lot in this company, because I don't want to say the name of where I used to work for, but that company that I used to work for, I didn't learn much. It was more of a retail aspect, making money, getting the patients in and out. Like it was just completely different to here. Here I get a more personal view of the actual cannabis and what it can actually do for us. As far, I mean, with everything that comes with it, this was never taught to me. I've never made edibles the right way. We made edibles in high school, but it was just like throw the weed in the mix and let's go.
Look, see?
You know what I mean?
We were
So,
just talking about that.
Completely different. And being able to learn this and having you on board has been the biggest blessing to us, for sure. For sure.
Love it.
The rundown. Last question. So, working at the state line, talk to us about, you know, the different types of customers you get here, the patients. Obviously, Chaparral's a very small community itself, but you know, you're sitting right next to El Paso and everything else.
So I want to say majority of our patients and customers are Texas residents. It's nice to be able to help people that can't have a medical card because of the state that they live in. You know what I mean? Being able to have the access open for them to come and get the medication that they feel like they need to be able to live with their life. You know what I mean? It's a big blessing, because you see people come in and they're having such a hard day. And as soon as they're getting their medicine, they're like, yes, now I can medicate. Now I can start my day. Now I can go on with my day. You know what I mean? Life is hard. Life ain't easy, I don't think, for anybody.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it just makes it, I think, a little bit harder for states that don't have it legalized. You know what I mean? But being so close to a state that is legal, I think it makes it so much easier for them to get the right medication rather than running to opioids and stuff like that. So it's a blessing. It really is, being able to help two different states in one.
It's a big responsibility out here on the state line. And,
with great power comes great responsibility.
You may have some pretty cool flyers, but you may have people you never see again. And I feel like that's, you know, a different experience out here, obviously.
And lately we've been getting a lot of new patients here. A lot of new patients. Like, it's crazy, because all of a sudden we see the same new ones over and over. And then all of a sudden it's like
more new ones.
Shitload of new ones. So it's like, it's amazing knowing that our name is getting out there and there's people coming to us because we know our stuff. You know what I mean? And I gotta thank this one here again.
Thank you so much. She's always been one of my she's been one of my greatest supporters, for sure. So I do what I do for that right here. Her story, her passion that she has in the industry. You know, that's what's needed in this industry, is, you know, having passion, having that integrity to connect with, you know, that integrity with, you know, knowing products and not knowing products, and being able to connect with your clients. And, you know, just overall, it's more than just retail. It's more than just selling cannabis.
And being able to teach addicts that are in recovery that it's okay to medicate yourself with cannabis is, I think, my biggest reasoning for being in the industry, honestly. It's a big blessing. It's a big blessing because I have helped quite a bit of people come into the recovery life, and it's like I told them, just smoke a little, and you'll make it through your day.
And that's, I mean, exactly. Like I can only imagine right. You have to not only make the choice, but then be able to stick it out
to maintain it. And it's like they say, it's. I think the easiest part is going into recovery, and the hardest part is staying in recovery. Because I mean, alcohol is everywhere, everywhere.
It's advertised everywhere.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's advertised like a glass of milk type of thing. So it's a lot harder to stay away from that lifestyle. Biscochitos. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder, but having the cannabis industry open to us is a big blessing for sure. We just need a lot more cannabis lounges for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely. So if you can attend or you can speak up about things like that, that's for sure. You know, things that we're needing, things that we like and we don't like in this industry.
Just like there's a bar in every corner, we need a smoke lounge as well.
Yeah.
That's honestly, those are great feedback, which is reality. Because again, you keep pulling people in their houses to be alone. I mean, you know, social connectedness is still, you know, very key, especially when you need the support.
Yeah.
In this kind of situation.
And that just keeps things.
Yeah, especially with the holidays.
Stigmatized. Oh yeah, especially
with the holidays, because it's
that's
it's
why I think
so,
it's important. We're open 365, 24/7. We're there for the clients that don't have family.
And that's what's sad about this one is that we used to be 24/7, but unfortunately, Otero County decided no. So it sucks for us here in Chaparral because we have to drive all the way to Cruces. You know what I mean? But if I need my medication at 2:00 in the morning, I can go and drive to the location on Valley and just literally drive through. I don't even have to get off. You know what I mean? Crusty eyes and everything. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? So it's a big privilege. It really, really is.
Well, thank you, Nicole. You guys come see her. She
knows her stuff. Ask for Nicole. Leave a review if you leave a review for her. If you haven't yet, you can get a free pre-roll.
Free pre-roll. Leave my name on the review.
Specific. If you've got stuff that you want to talk about, I'm sure Nicole has no issue sharing that with you.
Yes, I am an open book when it comes to my addictions. So, yes, like you said, if anybody needs to come and talk, I am here for sure.
Send in the next one, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll do a tag team. Bennett's over here getting like these perfectly sized eyeball out cookies.
I am just very detailed. Right now. Okay.
We got one more coming. Hope everybody's having a
it's your turn.
Wednesday, hump day.
I'm gonna pop these in already.
Get it. High horse.
Timer for 14 minutes. This way. Ask Nikki for the mic. Can you set a timer for 14 minutes, please? Even if it goes off after we're done, just let me know. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I'll be okay. Alrighty. And this is going to be one of my favorite little elves of Chaparral. She is what we call the Mariah Carey of Chaparral. She's who did most of this. And it was all done right after Halloween, too.
I love it, yes. Hanging out with Snoop. Hide him later. See if y'all catch him.
Look at him. I didn't even see him.
Well, team, okay, let's get some introductions here. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, how long you've been with High Horse.
Okay, my name's April. I've been with High Horse since we got the license. Proud to say I love it. I love it. It's the best thing ever.
What's your position?
My position is an assistant manager. Eventually, hopefully moving up in the near future. So we'll see where that entails. But yes, I love it. I love it here. It's the best job ever.
And so you've been with us since you started?
Yes, sir.
Were you on Team Bennett the whole time?
Yes. B was my manager.
Guys, give us a little history of the story. Granted, so this used to be kind of...
Yes, this was just the dispensary part. We actually had to knock down that wall. We actually did that as a team, most of us.
Yeah, there's a video
it was pretty
of me where,
fun.
I bust through the wall like the
literally bust through it. Yeah.
Such a cute, awesome, beautiful. I've been here.
It's
a big, big place.
Yes. It's came a long way. I mean, we've done it since the doors opened, from the welding all the way through the drive-through to, you know, just starting off with the minimum that we had.
Yeah.
You know, and it's definitely
3
grown.
displays and some shelves. That was it.
Yes. I'm not going to say no names. No.
3 displays and some shelves.
Right?
Hold on, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
Here the whole time.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about working on the state line.
You know what? I love it. And shout out to my El Paso peeps. Thank you guys for helping us spread the word. We're here to help y'all as well. Don't forget, if you guys would like to become a Texas medical patient, you can come and talk to me about it. I can help you out and walk you through it. I know some places to go and get some promotions. So come by Chaps and just come and ask for me and I'll take care of y'all.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice, but
Yeah.
guys,
You didn't see
got a
that?
little elf on a shelf.
Got to,
It's
got
Snoop
to.
on the stoop, actually.
I'm telling you, he's been hiding everywhere, everywhere.
He's been all over. Tune into one of the budtenders or the assistant managers' Instagrams, and you'll see where he's at, or you'll see where they find him, or what he's up to. He was pooping in the freezer the last time I
Yes, he
saw.
was. Oh man, he's crazy. He's everywhere. He's been in the cereal box. He's been in the fridge. He went back to LA and, you know, came right back.
So, April, tell me, in terms of working with cannabis, obviously you do a lot. What is kind of one of the more fascinating parts for you about what you do?
Mainly it's about helping a lot of the patients. A lot of the patients don't understand that they can come here and get the information they need as in help. I get a lot of clients that come in and they just want to talk about percentages, and I have to let them know it's about the terpenes that are in the cannabis. You know, you figure out what your element is, and then you look up your terpenes and you find out what it is. My particular one is myrcene. I love to find that in, I use wedding cake a lot for it, and that's just a lot for the anxiety that I have sometimes, or maybe some pain that I've had. But that's how I learned it. And when I first started, I didn't even know. I just smoked because I smoked and didn't realize that it was helping me with certain aspects.
Yeah, she always thought she was an indica girl, but
Yes.
turns out it was myrcene.
Yes,
Myrcene.
yes, myrcene.
Perfect classic example there of, you know, discovery, find your dose, you know exactly what
Know your
works for you,
terpenes.
know your terps, exactly. So,
And that helps. It helps clients understand it too. And even though some of them will look at you like, oh my God, what are you even saying? But you just have to just kind of break it down in the same way that you learn. You know, we're all going to learn together. So as we grow, this industry is going to boom.
April, you're the
Yes,
woman.
sir.
Appreciate you.
The woman. Yes,
Appreciate it.
She's
Thank
been
you for
also
having
one of
me.
my OGs day one.
Yes,
so she
ma'am.
used to be a budtender and moved her up to assistant manager, and she's been an assistant manager since. So I look forward to seeing you.
I know. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you guys. Come see April. Are we tagging anybody else in?
No, I think
No, I think that's it.
Okay, that's our staff right now, guys. Bennett obviously is got to the point of incredibly
extreme focus too.
cookies here. And almost kind of wrapping up where we're at.
So after we finish, what is the timer? Your timer?
So
set
we've
right now?
got
How much time?
9 minutes and 30 seconds remaining
So
on
in
this.
10 minutes from now-ish, once they're cooled and they're a little bit more easy to deal with, they will be then tossed into the sugar
cinnamon.
and cinnamon. Oh my gosh. No. Sugar and cinnamon mix. And then that'll give it its biscochito finishing touch. So right now, that top layer of cookies looks beautiful. I wish you guys could see. And then we have this other dose here. I'm going to see if I can come back later this evening and finish up the cookies and get them, spread out throughout the shops. But yes, I will try my best. I do have my mom duties today, so we'll see how that goes.
So yes, guys, obviously you have, I don't know if you've seen the final product, but we've got it here. We'll get you guys obviously the look, and otherwise I hope to encourage the creative flow in the kitchen for you all, and hope you guys have a very fantastic holiday. Share off all of your cool goodies. Our team will try some of our homemade batches here, and we'll share with you guys some of the stuff that we're doing. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, and we will see you guys next week.
Have a great one.